Hey everyone, we are so glad to have you tonight. Welcome Gary, Jamari, Octavio, Serena, Terry, Willie, John. A lot of you guys are coming in, so I'm going to wait a little bit for everybody to get here. We're so glad to have you this evening. Actually, Peter's going to be joining us a little bit later this evening. He actually has got a new place down in Atlanta, and as many of you might already know, hey, Marcio from Maryland. Actually, I would love for everybody to tell me exactly where you are. So if you don't mind, take a few seconds and type in exactly where you are this evening or today, depending on where you are. I would love to welcome you on. I wonder how the weather is there in Maryland. I'm sure it's snowing there already. So definitely let us know where you're from. Well, tonight's a big, big, big night. This is all about negotiations. Okay. And hey, Gary from Los Angeles. Jamari's obviously from Atlanta. It's a little bit chilly here today. Well, I live in the North Georgia mountains, so it's always a little bit colder here. But hey, Talon from Boston. I love seeing all your stuff on Facebook. So glad to have you on this evening. But tonight's a big night. It's all about negotiations. And look, whenever you get to the point to where you're negotiating any type of deal whatsoever, having great negotiating skills is always going to take you from the next level. Hey, John from Jacksonville. Sorry I missed you last time I was down there last week. Michael from Detroit. Glad to have you on this evening, Michael. Moshi, good to see you, Moshi. Well, you know, anytime you're at a point to where you're negotiating deals, you realize that you are absolutely in a great spot. So let's talk about, you know, kind of what we've been doing here lately. As many of you know, we're in the holiday season between Thanksgiving and New Year. And I actually did a video the other day about this subject. Do I think you should give up during this time of year? No, I do not. Okay, but I will tell you, a lot of things slow down this time of year, especially whenever it comes to sellers' mindsets. And what do I mean by that? A lot of people are in the holiday season. They're not willing to, you know, sell their property right now. Or maybe you're dealing with, you know, an investor and he does not want to, or she does not want to deal with the capital gains this year. So the best thing that you guys could be doing right now is working on your follow-up and your follow-up systems, okay? And one thing that I say all the time, I promise you, fortune is made in the follow-up. So everything I'm doing right now is literally setting up my January and my February so that I have a great first quarter. I've probably literally got 500-600 people to call in the first 3 weeks of January, which is super, super, super important. And that does matter as far as negotiations are concerned. You know, Peter and I are a little bit different whenever it comes to negotiations and exactly how we do it. He's a lot more hard-nosed than I am, which works great for him. You know, and for me, I'm more of a relationship builder as far as meeting sellers and being able to, you know, develop these deals and develop these relationships so they pay off for me later, okay? Both strategies are wonderful. I want you guys to write this one thing down. If you don't learn anything from anybody, know this. The first person to speak is always the first loser. Okay? I know that's a terrible thing to say, but no matter what you're doing with sellers or with anybody else, you should always 100% of the time an asking price from your sellers. You don't want to be throwing out numbers up front. You want to be the one that hears their asking price first, because you never know what they're going to say, right? So, again, I'm glad to have everybody on tonight. I'm glad to have, a whole series on negotiations. So, really what I would like to do is start you guys from the beginning of the conversation. And one thing is if you're part of our partner-driven investing program, we give you all the scripts, we give you the lead sheets. Also, if you're in our community, you have access to these lead sheets as well. So it all begins with the beginning of the conversation. When I'm talking about negotiations, it begins with the first initial beginning of this conversation. So whenever I'm cold calling someone or I'm hearing them from the first time, it's important that you always use their name, okay? So let's say it's John. John, how are you doing today? Let me go ahead and confirm your address, and I'm going to kind of just, go through my lead sheet. But the entire time, it's super, super, super important that you're building a relationship. A lot of times for a lot of you guys that have been in sales or you've been in, any type of acquisitions position, they want to get you off the phone as quickly as possible. This business does not call for that. It does not call for rushing somebody off the phone. So let's just say you've got, an elderly lady that, wants to spend 20 minutes with you on the phone. It's important that you take the time out to talk to them, okay? Because the more comfortable that somebody is talking with you, the more comfortable they're going to be doing a deal with you. So negotiations actually starts at the very, very, very beginning of this conversation. All right, so I'm asking a lot of personal questions, a lot of questions about the house. I'm asking them, what's your favorite thing that you love about this property? I want someone to tell me that. I want them to give me all the details. All right. So, when I'm getting to the point to where I'm getting to the price, okay, here's the biggest thing. I want to know how much they owe on the property. So, John, what do you owe on the property? And I'm quiet. I want to hear their response. I really don't care what response that they give me on this particular call because I can actually look up how much somebody owes on the property, but I want to know from them. I mean, what do you owe on the property? You'd be surprised how many people will give you that information and how easily they'll give you that information, okay? So, John, what are you looking to get for the property? I don't care how long the silence is. I want it to be uncomfortable, and I want them to tell me exactly what they're looking to get for the property. I want you guys to ask this question 5 times, okay, before you throw a number out there. John might say, I don't know, Julie, you called me. John, you've got to have some idea of what you're looking to get for the property, right? All right, John, I know you're wanting to move on from this house. I know you're wanting to, find your next investment or move on to a rental. What would make you happy? I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it because I'm going to have to come look at the property. What are you looking to get? I ask it over and over and over again until the point to where it becomes uncomfortable. The very, very, very last thing I'll do is I'll throw this out. John, okay, I'll give you $10,000 for the property. I say that more as like a joke than as a real number because I want to get John's response. I want to know where John's at because I promise you, if you throw a low number at somebody like that, they will most definitely give you their number. They'll be like, oh no, goodness, I got to have at least 100. Thank you, John, for letting me know what you got to have. The other thing about negotiations that you've got to understand is this, is a lot of you feel like if you cannot get the number that you're looking for on your first initial conversation, you feel like, well, this just isn't a deal, right? But the point is that the more contracts that you get under contract, the better off you're going to be, because you have the ability to renegotiate throughout the period. So let's say I need to be at 80 and the seller's at 90. A lot of you will walk away from that deal because you're like, it's just not going to work. There's no way that I can do $90,000 for this deal. Okay, well, once I will choose to put it under contract for 90, knowing that it's too high, then I'll come inspect the property. I'll take a look at everything, and then I'll bring the seller down in increments, because it's a lot. $10,000 is a lot easier pill to swallow in increments and not done in one fell swoop. Okay, so stop trying to get to your magic number on that one particular day, because you have at least 30 days, if you have that in your contract, to renegotiate the price down. And no, the lower you get the price, the better off you're going to be. Even whenever I'm wholesaling, a lot of times I'll sell the property and I'm making a profit, and I'll still call the seller and try to renegotiate one more time. When I'm doing this renegotiation one more time, that's just increasing my profit margins. So do I lose deals from that? No, I don't. I just need to increase profit margins and be at the number I'm at. If you're buy, fixing, and selling a property, you definitely have to be at the right number. You cannot be at the wrong number and buy, fix, and sell a property. However, once you do these inspections, you're going to be able to bring people down significantly. That's why that first initial phone call is so uniquely important, because you want to be able to build the relationship over and over and over again. That way, whenever you have these hard calls, it works a lot better. You know, I've negotiated deals that's taken me years to negotiate. I have a prime example. So we actually closed on this lady's house about a week and a half ago. It took me 1 year to even get her close to the number that I need to be at. And during the time that I had it under contract, I actually renegotiated this house 3 times to get to the number that I needed to be at, because the numbers just didn't work. I mean, if you're going to be doing these properties by fixing and selling, you've got to know your numbers. You've got to know where you are. So it's not your fault that it needs a new roof. It's not your fault that it needs foundation work or what have you. You just want to always continuously be working on these, right? I do want to answer a couple questions here. He wants to know, do we work with other wholesalers? We definitely do work with other wholesalers, but that is not going to be something that I'm going to be super excited about. And I'll tell you why. When you're dealing with other wholesalers, what you're dealing with is somebody else that has control of the seller and somebody else that has control of the contract. And you're at mercy of their relationship with that seller. And you're at mercy with their relationship, you know, with maybe the title company or the closing attorney. If you really want to know how to be good at this business, you need to know how to be direct to seller. How do you go meet with sellers? How do you get properties under contract direct to sellers? That's the way to fail-safe this business, because if you have a contract direct with seller, then you're going to be able to wholesale it, and you're going to be able to buy, fix, and sell this property. So it's okay to go with other wholesalers, but I really feel like you're going to be spinning your wheels over and over and over again, when it's better just to take the high road and learn how to market direct to sellers, how to go to appointments, and how to close those deals on your own. You know, that's just my advice, you know, for that. But never feel, you know, the biggest thing I had with negotiations is it always embarrassed me a little bit to negotiate with sellers, right? You know, one thing is when you're in our program is you're not dealing, you know, with your own money. So it can be a little bit, you know, different of a negotiation phase, right? But at all costs, you've got to get to your lowest price, and never, ever, ever be afraid to ask. What's the worst that they could say? No. Once you learn the true way to negotiate, you will negotiate everywhere you go, whether it's at the car dealership, whether it's at the mall, no matter where it's at. So I encourage you guys to be brilliant at the basics, which negotiations is the number one key thing to that. So, hey, Peter. Hey, so I was, you know, talking to everybody about negotiations tonight, but I will tell you guys, nobody's better than Peter at negotiations, and he taught me a lot. And I'm so proud of the fact that you taught me how to negotiate. And I'll tell you, he's put me in spots where I felt super, super, super uncomfortable. You know, but you always stand your ground and keep that game face on. You know, and that's what makes you great at negotiations. So, you know, I've told them a little bit about negotiations, but what would you feel like is some key things that's going to help these great people in the webinar tonight be super uberly successful at negotiations?
Well, you know, there's negotiations is something you're going to have to learn and understand in this business. You know, if you know, my philosophy is very simple. Is it possible just to play the numbers game in this business? I mean, you know, let's face it. You could go out there and just be awful negotiator and be awful, you know, be awful at many different things, and but negotiate and still get a deal. I mean, you know, you could talk to 2,000 people and just ask them, hey, do you want to sell your house? And somebody's going to say they want to sell it at a right price. But the thing about the key factor about negotiations is that what it does is it shortcuts the system for you. The better of a negotiator you are, the less people you need. You know, like for instance, you know, I've been negotiating for 20 years now. You know, I've negotiated, you know, I'm sure I've talked to thousands, easily tens of thousands of people at this point. Well, guess what? Before, statistically, and look, sellers are sellers. It's not like, you know, it's not like there's like one better crop of sellers out there. I mean, you know, if you're going to like say non-owner auctions, or if you're driving for dollars, you know, we're all basically going for the same pool. So where, you know, 20 years ago, I may have had to negotiate with those people to get a deal. Now, 20 years afterwards, I'm going to have to only negotiate with about 5 or 10 people to get it. So the better of a negotiator you are, the learning curve, not only the learning curve, but you're literally shortcutting the system. So negotiations is one of those skill sets that I strongly suggest people invest into. You know, invest time, money if you have to, effort, but ultimately it's practice. Ultimately, you gotta practice. But having said all this, I will also tell you that in my opinion, there's an absolute pattern to negotiating. You know, it's not just kind of a free-for-all. It's not a, you know, I'm better than you. But guess what? If you use my pattern, no matter what your skill set is, you're going to be better. You know, because there's some proven techniques. There are some proven strategies. There are absolutely some proven ways of getting sellers to come down. So, you know, I could, you know, let me kind of walk you through what I tend to follow, the pattern, the system that I tend to follow. And the cool thing is, guys, this thing works. I mean, this absolutely works. There is, you know, I'm just kind of going back in my mind, but possible, you know, because obviously I don't negotiate on a daily basis anymore. But I think for the last probably 5 or 6 times that I was asked to help somebody negotiate a deal, 100% of the time we were able to get the price down to where we needed to get it. So this is somebody that went ahead of me, negotiated to the best of your ability, got a certain price, and I literally went behind them and helped them get it from that price to a lower price. So same property, same person, same time frame, no different other than a different pattern. So the pattern that you follow is very, very important. So let me kind of walk you through a couple basic things that I tend to follow when I'm negotiating deals, okay? Number one, when I'm talking to a seller, I know it's a relationship thing, and I know some people spend a tremendous amount of time building a relationship ahead of time. I 100% buy in to that strategy. But at the same time, I personally am not necessarily this great relationship guy, okay? So I think it's more important, especially in this type of a skill set like negotiations or sales, it's more important to be you. One of the things where people really lose it in sales, whether it's negotiations or whatever else, is they become something they're not. And it's more important to be who it is than even, I think, the pattern you follow. So if you're a kind of person that needs to build a relationship, then spend 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes, shooting the, whatever with the person.
And that's really like what I was talking to you guys about tonight. That's really more my style. But, Peter a lot of times is a lot more effective than I am, because I let a lot of that personality get in the way. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, you look at Julie compared to me negotiating a deal, it's almost like we're in two different worlds. But guess what? We tend to get the same results. They both work. So I think in the beginning, whether you want to build a relationship or you don't, I don't think that's the critical aspect of it. My philosophy is very simple. When I'm talking to a seller, they know what I'm talking about. It's not like I have to warm them up to selling. If they're calling me or if they're open to talking to me about their house, hey, we got it. Because in my opinion, the key to building a relationship is because you want to come to terms on something. Well, in my opinion, we already come to terms. You got a house you want to sell? I'm an investor. I want to buy. So the thing that I I think I do battle with this next step is that's the first step. The first step beyond that initial introduction is the price. Now it's time to get a price. I will tell you, there is absolutely no argument here, and that is this: whoever says the price lose more than 50% of the time is going to lose. So right away, I mean, think about this: people go to Vegas, spend an inordinate amount of money to play something like blackjack, because statistically, blackjack is the only game that you actually, if you follow 100% by the rules, you actually have a statistical advantage over Vegas. And the advantage is like 50.5%. That's like an advantage, but it's an advantage. So if people are willing to dump millions and millions of dollars into a game that's got like 0.05% better chance of winning than losing, well, guess what? When it comes to negotiations, and I've seen this, over and over and over, it's like 60 to 70% of a chance that you're going to ultimately win if you give a price. So that is something you want to fight for, because you're immediately, like day one, the moment one, stacking the odds in your favor. When I'm trying to get a price, I'm just going to ask, Bob, how much do you want for this house? And, a lot of times they'll just spit it right out. A lot of times there really will not be a battle. It will not be difficult. It'll be just a very simple, like, oh, well, I want 50,000 or I want 100,000. Okay. But this is one point or one part of the negotiations where I would say battle for it. I mean, 100% totally battle for it. So Bob comes back and says, well, you're the one who got a hold of me. You're the one who sent me the postcard. I'll go back at him again. I know, Bob, but just give me an idea of what you want. Well, gosh, Pete, really haven't even thought about it. You know, again, you're contacting me. I know, Bob, in a perfect case scenario. See, again, I went to the statistics to work towards me. Plus, what I'm also doing is I'm doing something psychological here. That is, and by the way, negotiation is so psychological, you know, totally psychological. But the psychological thing I'm doing at this point is I'm establishing strength. Establishing strength. It's like if you get in a fist fight and you beat the other person up, you don't have to tell that other person you're stronger. It's just kind of assumed. You're like, okay, I just beat him up. Well, here, since we're kind of in a mind game and a somewhat psychological game, I'm going to go back at him several times to get the price. Well, Bob, what do you want? With perfect case scenario, what do you want? Well, Bob, if you can have anything, what do you want? Blah, blah, blah. I want to win. I want to win. You know, I want to put a check mark on my side. Because even though I'm not going to say I won and you gave me the price, that's immediately assumed. That, hey, we butted heads, we went toe-to-toe, we set some parameters, and I won the first one, okay? So my rule of thumb when it comes to negotiations is I will go back and forth 6 times. I will go back and forth 6 times. I will go back and forth 6 times before I back away. Okay. Now, what happens next, whether he gave me a price or he did not give me a price? What happens next is across the board the same. Okay. I'm going to give him an artificially low price next. So whether he gave me a price of 100,000, I'm going to, by the way, let me just kind of sidetrack here for a second. Obviously, this is, you're going to be a lot more effective doing this face-to-face than if you do it on the phone. Now, I tend to do it on the phone because I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm pretty good at it already, but even I'm going to be more effective. So I will tell you, for those of you that are listening and you're kind of beginning, at the beginning stages, I would not do this on the phone unless, you know, your seller is out of state, which I know a lot of them are, or whatever. But do your best in the beginning to get in the door, okay? So, because you're going to be a lot more effective. You know, we as individuals, we're always a lot more effective when you do that. So now once you start established, once you've established, okay, once you've established that, sorry, I'm doing a couple things at once. Once you've established the precedent, okay, you're going to go artificially low. So if you gave me a price of 100,000, I'm going in around 60, 65,000. If you gave me no price, and let's say the house was worth 100,000, I'm going in at around 60, 65. So why am I going artificially low? And by the way, I know, remember, it's all psychological. So this is where the first part for a lot of investors, especially newbie investors, this is the first part where it gets difficult because you don't want to offend the seller, right? You're like, well, gosh, Pete, he says 100 and I say 60, then he's going to get mad at me. Number one, it's okay. It's okay during negotiate. That's what negotiation's about. It's this. And there are certain parts of negotiations where this is okay. There are certain parts where you want to kind of bring it together, okay? So, but it's okay to butt heads. That's what negotiations is all about. But the reason that you're going in artificially low, whether he gave you a price or or he did not give you a price, and then you're bringing it down, is you want to get the emotion out of that seller, okay? I want to see where he's at emotionally. And when I'm going artificially low, I promise you, I'm getting an emotion out of him, right? I'm going to get some kind of an emotion out of him. The emotion could be here, like, hell, and why are you even talking to me, Pete? Or the emotion could be here, kind of like, well, I don't know. Now, if it's here, hell to the no, that tells me right away I'm way off, right? Because I'm already thinking my next step. I got to figure out where I'm at in this whole thing. So I'm trying to get him emotional so he'll tell me where he's at with everything. So if it's hell to the no, okay, well then I know that I need to be coming up probably quite a bit. If it's here, like him howling, like, gosh, wow, that low, or geez, man, I really didn't think I could take that low. Anything like that, you got it. That means you're probably not going to get them at that price range, but that means you're in a ballpark. Okay? So you're doing a gut check here. You're literally doing a gut check of where are you at with the seller. Okay? So remember, if he's him and howling, that's a yes. That's a sign that you're in the ballpark. If he's pissed, that means you're out of the ballpark. Okay? Now, here's what happens next. And by the way, and I know we're somewhat limited for time on these webinars, but before even going into my pricing, like if he gives me a price, like, let's say he gave me 100,000, before going artificially low, many times I'll actually have him try to negotiate against himself. So I'll say things like, well, Bob, is that the lowest you could take? Oh, gosh, no, maybe I guess I could take 97. Well, Bob, what if I close quickly? Well, maybe I could take 95. Bob, what if I wipe out all the contingencies? So before I even go artificially low, if he gives me a price, I'm going to have him try to negotiate against him because that's what he's doing. I'm not even giving the price. I'm just throwing things out at him, and he's responding. And I'm going to continue throwing things. He stops responding. Like once he tells me 95 3 times in a row is usually my point of stop. So hey, what's the lowest you could take? Well, I guess I'll take 95. What if I close quickly? 95. What if I have no contingencies? 95. What if I stand in my head? 95. Got my 3 no's. I'm done. I'm done. And then it's time to truck on. Okay. And that's when I go in with artificially low price. Okay. Now, so when I'm low, he's up here, whether he's him howling or he's pissed at me, I'm going to force him to give me a price now. So 165, no go. Okay, Bob, well, give me a counter offer. And I'm going to literally tell him, see, I'm guiding him in what he should tell me. Bob, give me a counter offer. Okay. So I'm going to try to get him, even though he's maybe negotiated against himself, or maybe you weren't able to get him to do this, I'm making this seem like, hey, Bob, this is what negotiation is all about. I gave you a price. You gave me a price. Now it's your turn to give me a price. And a lot of people, again, we kind of live in a world, a society where people can be led by their hands. You just got to know how to lead them the right way. So I'm leading him. Hey, Bob, you gave me a price. I gave you a price. You know how the rule works. The rules are now you got to give me a price. So I'm going to try to get him, okay? I'm going to try to get him to come down lower. If he comes down lower, I'm going to go higher. How much higher? If I was at 65, let's say he was at 95 and now he came down to 90 or 80, whatever he came down to. I'm going to go up, but watch this. This is important. I'm going to go up in small increments. Okay? I'm going to go up in small increments. Again, psychology here, right? He feels like he's getting me to go up, and I am going up. But I ain't going from 65 to 80. That's way too high. I'm going to go from 65 to 67, and I'm always going to go with wacky numbers. I'm be I could do, how about 67.5? You know, it's those crazy numbers that really kind of hit people like, wow, Pete's like, man, he seems to be his limit, right? So hopefully he'll come down. I'll go up a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to him. So I'm going to do this as far as it goes. As long as he's coming down, I'm going up. When do I stop? Stop the same time that we just talked about in this last one. The rule of three, right? The rule of three. When he stops at a price 3 times. So let's say now I'm in my 70s. I'm at 79. Let's say he's at 90. Well, Bob, I think I can go 83, 90. Bob, maybe 84, 90. Bob, what do you think? 85 and a half, 90. Boom, got rule of three. Hit the rule of three. And so I'm done. Okay, I'm basically done. Now, if I'm within usually 15% of where I need to ultimately be, I'm going to lock up that property. Okay? So remember, this is just the beginning of the negotiations. Okay? This is just the beginning of it. You know, ultimately I got to be at, I don't know, 80 and I'm at 86 or 85, I'm locking that puppy up. I'm within 15% of where I need to be. Because remember, negotiations is an art form, okay? It is a process, okay? It's a process, it's an art form, and it's many times done over a period of times, over a period of different sessions even, okay? I'm locking the puppy up. I'm locking it up if I got the price I need to be at. I'm locking it up if I'm within 15% of where I need to be at, okay? Then we're going to take it to the next step. We're going to go obviously through our due diligence period. And by the way, getting a contract is an art form onto itself. Make sure you get that contract. Again, if you're face to face with them, it's simple. You're pulling out your contract, you're going over it with him, you're signing it off, and you're trucking on. That's another reason why you want to be face to face negotiating, because you can get the contract right away. You know, if you're doing things over the phone, even if you agree to a price, things happen. Like somebody else calls him a day later, or his buddy says that has never sold the property before, all of a sudden got a license, and he's like, well, I can get it for $100,000. You know, crap happens. So get it locked up, go through your inspection or due diligence period. And whatever the due diligence shows, because, you know, during the due diligence, you could always find something that's not cool with the property, right? We can all find repairs and stuff like that. Then you're going to go back in and you're going to renegotiate it to a better price, right? You're going to use that inspection number. You know, you're going to call them back and you're going to tell them, Bob, gosh, man, this thing needs more work than I thought. You know, I just plug things into spreadsheets, and based upon how much work it needs, or based on how much I could sell it for, or based on how much I could rent it for, you know, I thought I could pay 85, but Bob, really, I got to be around 77 on it. And I'm going to start the renegotiations right all over again. Because now I could leverage off his own property. I'm telling him, hey, Bob, the property kind of sucks. We can't do with it what we thought. And if I can't do what I thought with it, I promise you can't. I don't even know if you got 10,000 or 20,000 to fixing it, Bob. So let's just make a little concession. Let's make a little price adjustment. And usually when I make those price adjustments, I'll actually tell them why I'm adjusting it. Well, it needs $5,000 AC system. Bob, I'll pay for half. You know, needs $4,000 paint job. I'll absorb half of it. See, I'm telling him I'm absorbing half of it, but, you know, psychologically, I'm telling him he's going to be absorbing half of it also. And so I use those strategies to get the price down as low as I can. So hopefully at that point, maybe I can go from 85 to 79, 78, you know, below my threshold. If I can, super duper, we're locking it up, relocking it up, and doing what we got to do with it in the back end, you know, wholesale it or retail it or fix and flip it, whatever. But guess what? If I'm not locking it up at that price, Okay, if I'm not able to lock it up at that number, let's say I'm X amount of dollars off. Maybe I'm still 10, 20,000 off. Well, guess what? That goes into the follow-up file. And Bob's going to hear from me. Going to hear from me every 3, 4, 5 weeks, depending how many follow-ups you're doing. And remember, guys, the key factor then, let's say you've gone through this whole negotiation, might have taken you hours, might have taken you a couple of days, might have taken you a couple of weeks, and then you're coming up short. Well, now you have the ultimate negotiations tool working for you. Time. You have time working for you. So every couple of weeks, every 3, 4 weeks, Bob and say, Bob, has anything changed? And what I'm waiting for is for Bob to say something like, well, gosh, I lost my job. I lost my health is going. My kids are leaving. I got an upside. I got a downside. I got to move. Boom. As soon as I get that, that's my cue. Let's start negotiating again. And I could tell you the negotiations piece, which is the piece almost every investor leaves behind because they just think a no is a no. But a no is not a no. No is just a no right now. But everything that every investor leaves behind in terms of not doing a good job follow-up is the kind of stuff we live off of. Because you've already negotiated down from 100 to 85. You've done half the job. You might have done 9% of the job. He's already agreed that 85 is his new sales price. So when I get a hold of him on your back that you didn't follow up with, he's probably going to start at 85 because like mentally he's like already 85. And now I don't have to go from 100 to 70. I just got to go from 85 to 70. See, you've already done most of the work. So make sure you negotiate and make sure you follow up.
I have one thing, Mauricio, and I hope I said that correctly. He goes, how do you deal with sellers that is in pre-foreclosure? And I have an absolute great line for this. I will say to somebody, you would not believe how many people lose their house to foreclosure that have equity in their home because of pride. And what they feel like is that they deserve all of this money, but at the same time, they're willing to let their house foreclose. So I will literally straight up tell people, do not let pride get in the way. You are going to lose your house in 6 weeks. Had you rather have this or had you rather have nothing? And would you rather have something on your credit for 1 year or for 7 years? Because let me tell you guys, you get a foreclosure on your credit report, it's going to be on there 7 years. You can clear up missed payments in 1 year. So that may be a strong thing to say, but I have no problem telling people, do not let pride get in the way of something that is going to affect your life for the next 7 years. That's how I deal with a seller that says that. And you've got to be real upfront and honest with somebody that is in that situation, because most people that are in that situation lose their house. They can't find anywhere to rent because of their credit score, and you are there to actually help these people. So there's no time for BS in the middle. When somebody is in a pre-foreclosure status, they are going to lose their house. So as much as I like to build relationships, it's more important that you're upfront, direct, and honest with them about what's going on and what's fixing to happen to them. Because people say, how do you have equity in your home and they lose their house? Just like all of us, guys. When something goes wrong, what do you tend to do? We all tend to stick our head in the sand. That's life. And that's where these people are. You've got to pull their head out of the sand and show them their reality. What do you think, Pete?
100%. 100%. And this is interesting as I'm listening to you answer this question, guys. There's a lot of scenarios out there. We're kind of just hitting the general ones. We're hitting perfect case scenarios. But I can tell you, there ain't no perfect negotiations. There ain't no perfect case scenario. For instance, we just did a deal with one of our partners that we closed on, I believe it was yesterday, where we made, I forgot what we made, Julie, but I know we made
34.
$34,000 on. It's not a bad little flip, right? But guess what? On that particular deal, Julie personally stepped in and helped our partner negotiate that deal. So here's the real question tonight, guys. I could probably spend another 6 hours talking to you about negotiations. Like he said, she said, because when I kind of go through it like this, it's like, oh, okay, got it. He's going to say this and I'm going to say that. And then I just do this. And then I go up by a little bit and he comes down by a lot. Wow, Pete, fantastic. That's called an outline. Reality, it ain't going to happen like that. Because you're going to say this and he's going to say like something totally off the wall that you're going to be like, well, Pete didn't say this. Well, it's not that I don't want to teach you. I can't. There's not enough scenarios out there. So how would you like for Julie or myself to be negotiating, helping you negotiate, like with real life sellers, be able to say, hey, I got this person, I got him to this. Can you get him down? That's really what you need, right? Wouldn't it be cool to have somebody like me who's done this for 20 years? Somebody like Julie, who's in the trenches day in and day out, talking to sellers, helping negotiate deals. We can't teach you us. We can teach you concepts, but we can't teach you us. It's like Michael Jordan or LeBron James teaching you basketball. We're going to be Michael Jordan or LeBron James.
Peter, are you trying to say I can't go to the NBA? You just bashed my dreams forever.
You could go and watch, but you're not.
Okay, got it.
That's the reality, guys. So Julie and I can only coach you up to a certain level. You know this, right? But what we can do is we could actually jump on your team. Because I guarantee you, if LeBron James is not going to coach you, but if he's going to jump in with you and you play 2-on-2 with pretty much any other combination out there, you're going to win. Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing. That's what we want to give you the opportunity to do tonight. We want to give you the opportunity to literally partner with Julie and I and do deals together. We do it because we want to do more deals. You need it because you understand it's just too cowboy and Indian out there, too wild, too chaotic, too many scenarios, too many ifs then, too many like, I thought it's this, but it's that. But what we do with our partners across the United States, we do that. We do deals with them. We help them negotiate those deals when you need our help. You use all of my money to buy those deals. We then help you fix those deals. By the way, this deal that I was just telling you about that Julie helped negotiate for our partner, Julie also pretty much single-handedly ended up fixing that property. So we helped negotiate it, used all my money to buy it, used all my money to fix it, used our infrastructure, Julie specifically, to help him fix it. We sold it together, and we split tens of thousands of dollars of profits. Guys, it don't get no better than that. If you thought of if you're like, oh, Pete, I know somebody doing something better than that, I'd like to know. Okay? I would absolutely 100% love to know that because I don't think it exists. And if it does exist, I need to be emulating that because I think this is the best thing going. If you want to use, go ahead, Julie.
I don't mean to make this longer for you guys. Thank you for being here tonight. When it comes to negotiations, I want to tell you something about that deal. The funny thing about that particular deal that we flipped and made that $34,000 on, it wasn't the negotiation on the sales price of the house that mattered. It was the negotiation of the materials that the man had bought for this house prior to us buying it. So my point there being is I've never negotiated the sales price. I negotiated the materials that the man had bought for the last couple of years. The reason I knew what to negotiate with this man is because I knew the buttons that he pushed. against me. You know, so I knew that if I paid him a little bit more for his roofing materials, that's what mattered to him, because it was a pride thing with him. But that's, you know, like Peter said, that's one of the things that Peter and I, that we do for you guys and that we want to help you with, because selfishly, we want to do more deals. We want to be talking to your sellers. We want to be teaching you how to build these relationships. This is how we are going to kill it in 2019, is by dealing with a lot of you guys on there. And there's about 20 of you on here tonight that are already one-on-one, you know, partner-driven coaching clients. And you know what? I cannot wait to do our next deal, just like with you, Michael Brown. Ready to do yours in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And I could go on and on and on with scenarios like that. But sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, that's true. I mean, how many of you all, like, even if you understood what Julie said right now, how many would you even think of doing that? You know, I mean, again, that's not a scenario we could teach, because we'd be wasting our time, because there's 6,000 scenarios like that. So bottom line is this, guys. If you want to use our resources, like we'll skip trace for you, identify pre-foreclosures with equity for you, you want to use our resources to find the deals, use all money to buy the deals, use our resources to help you fix the deals, then we sell them together, split the profits, then you need to be part of our partner-driven coaching program. And that's exactly what we do with partners literally all over the United States. So to get more information or to get rolling with us, either go to our website at www.coachingbypeter.com, or you could actually even call me directly at area code 404-915-9685. That's area code 404-915-9685. I promise you, you're going to absolutely love it. You're going to absolutely love it. Anything else, Julie?
No, I really, you know, hope all of you guys the best, and know this. You're never going to do anything unless you go out and try to do something. You're never going to be good at negotiations unless you try to do negotiations. So whatever you can do to put yourself to that next level, you've got to do it. And you've got to visit our website, because look, I love working with people I work with, and I want to work with you too.
All right, guys. We appreciate it as always. Thanks. See you next week.
Bye.